Here we are at the factory for Ramon, and this is the processing of the tobaccos. This is the finished product, but so many people do not realize how much time and labor it takes to get to the final product. So it begins with the fermentation of the tobaccos when they come in from out of the fields. After the tobacco has been harvested, it has been hung and cured, then the process really begins. So if you'll follow me, I'm going to show you the different colonies. And as the tobacco is brought in from various sources, either locally or our tobacco from Kentucky, it still goes through a fermentation process. And so the tobaccos are set in the different stages and they're heated up. And the purpose is to remove the ammonia. When vegetable matter breaks down, ammonia is released. And so this is a tedious, long process of rotating these tobaccos, and it's monitored by thermometers. And so when it reaches an optimum heat, Ramon and his men know it's time to turn. So it could take up to 30, 45 days. And this is during the fermentation process, the first step of many steps to get to the final product. This is the different tied hands that stack in the polony while it's fermenting. And again, this may even take up to 2 months. After the tobaccos have been turned, they let them rest, and then they'll restart the process to make sure that the tobacco is properly fermented and all these ammonias are removed. And then it goes on to the next step. The tobacco is properly fermented, then it's brought to these tables where the ladies are stripping the main vein out of the middle of the whole leaf. They don't split it yet, but they're taking the one part of the vein that is not necessary during the aging process of the tobacco leaf. So they remove this. This will help eliminate any type of bitterness in the tobacco years from now. So this is the process they're going through right now. And then I'm going to show you the next step. After the stems have been removed from the leaf, they will flatten these by pressure, and it's by the zone and the priming of the leaf from the tobacco stalk, and then by the leaf. So these are 15-inch, second, third priming. That tobacco where the main stem has been removed. Then we go to the next step. So now what they do is they repackage and they pile those tobaccos by the size. So 15-inch, 16-inch, and also by the priming number. Here's an example. So these are 15-inch. They go. So they keep track of the priming, the name of the variety, the farm, as well as the size. Then from here, it'll actually go and be pressed and put into burlap bags that are sewn. And this is the aging process, just like bourbon. So tobacco needs to age to give it a mellowness, and you can get more flavor. So we'll go and show you how they do that. Okay, one more thing I want to add to the fact of this process is these tobaccos are from the 2024 crop. They've already been handled up to 8 months. And it won't be to possibly 10 months until these are actually bound together in the tertios. So it's a long, tedious process that people just do not understand. Okay, so now we have tobaccos that are close to 2 years old of just the process. And so now what they're doing is a soft pressing of these tobaccos where they're not damaged. They're encased. Being encased means that they're well humidified and that they can be handled. There's a slight amount of moisture in them. And then from there, they'll slightly press this, and then we'll move over to here where they actually sew the burlap around the pressed tertio. And this begins another aging process of the tobacco. A lot of hands touch this tobacco. Just follow me around, and then we'll show you this. So now we have those tobaccos that have been bundled, and now it's going to be aged. 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Just depends on the master blender and how he's using these different varieties, different tobaccos for that finished product. So we have 15-inch Seiko that's priming, Corojo, that's a year, bundle, and then the plantation and the poundage. Again, this is
16-inch, third priming, 96 pounds, Corojo. That's Cuban seed. That's the good stuff. That's sitting and aging. Continue to age.
Alright, so now, after those tobaccos have aged in those tercios and those bundles, the master blender has now determined the type of cigar he wants to make. So now all of these different varieties are pulled out of the aging process. Now the final stem is removed from that leaf, and then they're making 2 halves of 1 leaf. So you made a Ligero, which is the 4th and 5th priming. The top could be a Viso, which is a 4th priming, or a Seiko. This all goes into just the blend and the secret recipe for that particular cigar that's wanted to be finally produced. Okay, so getting ready to share with you a little bit about the secret of making the cigar. This is the final step before it goes to the actual rollers to make that final product. So if you look, so we have a Seiko. I'm going to show you the grower, size, the priming. There's a Corojo, another Seiko, it's a larger leaf. You have the Ligero. So this is information that the master blender uses to know what type of final product character of the cigar is going to be. If he wants to be stronger in strength, he'll use more Ligero. If he wants it more flavorful and not as strong, then he'll use more Seiko. Then from here, we're going to go to the actual table. Okay, so now separate tobaccos have been brought to the roller table, and what they're going to do is they're going to bunch the tripa. That's the middle portion. They'll use up to 3 different types of leaves, and then they use a binder, the camote, and then they press this and put those in molds. And these molds make it easier for the person that puts the final product wrapper on the dress or the lipstick. And I'll show you the press. Okay, so now those separate tobaccos have been brought to the roller table, and what they're going to do is they're going to bunch the tripa. That's the middle portion. They'll use up to 3 different types of leaves, and then they use a binder, the camote, and then they press this. They'll put those in molds. And these molds make it easier for the person that puts the final product wrapper on the dress or the lipstick. And I'll show you the press. Okay, this has already been pressed. This will go to the individual that will apply the wrapper. So you can see it's very uniform, it's compact, and it's ready. So now they've taken the molds of the filler, the tripa, and then the capote, the binder, and and they pressed them so they get them solid, so that the people who put the kappa, the wrapper on, it's almost finished, but not yet. So now, after the cigars have been approved and by the quality control, they're put into the honeymoon suite, and they will continue aging now all together, not individually. You have all these different tobaccos and all the enzymes working. They can sit here for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. This depends on the variety of the tobaccos that are used and when they are ready to be sent off to be consumed by cigar aficionados. They sit in here for an unlimited amount of time. Then, when it's ready, I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now, after how many years that these cigars have now come out of the honeymoon suite to humidor. Like I said earlier, they use 6 months, 1 year, maybe 2 years. But the tobaccos that are in these cigars can be up to 5 and 10 years. So what they do is they do this natural light, and then even though this wrapper is all the same variety, same form, they still try to match the coloring as the aging process can change them a little bit for presentation. It's presentation purposes in the box or even in the bundle so that it looks uniform, and that's where the pride of the manufacturer takes in making sure that it's presented in that respectful way. Black Patch Cigars, this is our 25th year of production and relationship with the Carbonell family. And from this point, then it goes to the final, the packaging, the rings and the cellophane and boxes that the cigars will be put into to be sent out to the public. So we'll go to the final step and take it from there. Okay, this is our 25th anniversary celebration cigar. That was created 2 years ago, and now Blanca is applying the ring, the label, and we're pretty excited about this. It's a beautiful, beautiful cigar. It's a 6-inch by 52 ring. Very, very flavorful. We're actually using the Kinbano as part of the tripa. It's a Havana seed that I raised in Kentucky, so that actually makes that part of this blend. Here we are, and from here we'll go into the bottle. We'll be ready for the public soon.
This blend is just out of this world. We're going to do so well with it. It's an Ecuadorian Connecticut seed, triple wrapped. I mean, this thing's unbelievable. Medium bodied, 1.5 leaf of Lajero. Since it's a 52 ring, it's just perfect in strength. Medium